When my husband and I got married, we got an extensive prenup, and we agreed that we would each be responsible for providing for our children. He came from a marriage where his ex-wife milked him for cash, and I also liked the idea of separate finances. We each pay our own bills. Grocery and mortgage are split 40-60, him 60%, me 40%, based on the fact that he has 2 children and I have 1. I understand that to some people it might seem a bit roommate-ish, but I've loved it, and I think it works out great. I don't care about the money he wastes golfing because it's his money, not mine, and I can get expensive sushi all the time. Growing up, my parents always yelled at each other about finances, nitpicking each other's spending. When my husband and I got married, I was in grad school and he worked in finance. He lost his well-paying job and now makes 50% less, whereas my career has flourished recently. My teen son has a birthday soon, and he's been asking for a Tesla Model 3. I plan on getting it for him because he deserves it. My husband recently came to me upset because my son talked about how excited he is to get a car. That upset his step-siblings who haven't and won't be getting cars. My husband said he wants to change how our household bills are split and he wants me to pay 80% and him 20%. He reasons that with his pay cut and his ex-wife still taking a large chunk in child support, he isn't able to golf or live the same lifestyle as before. He also wants me to buy each of my stepchildren a car this Christmas. I basically told him he was out of his mind, and he complained that his ex-wife used him for cash and made him pay all the bills, and that's what he's trying to do to me. He really didn't know how to respond to that, but isn't talking to me now. I find it kind of funny that when I made significantly less money, he had no issue with our finance split, but now that he's the one making less, it's an issue. Am I the idiot for not wanting to buy my stepkids cars and fund the family? He wants me to top off their college funds too. Edit, I am a positive role model in my stepchildren's lives. We're pretty close. I go to their sporting events, plan their birthday parties, etc. But they have 2 living parents who are more than capable of fully supporting them if they try hard enough, so I just don't feel like it's my place. The kids all know my husband is responsible for my stepkids' cars and college, and I'm responsible for my sons. They're just disappointed with their dad right now because their friends all have dads who've bought them nice cars, which has made my husband kind of mad. I don't think having cars and college funds are a necessity though, more of a nice-to-have thing if your parents can afford it. So I feel like my husband should either step up to the plate and get a better job or get off my back. Not the idiot. While I doubt there's a teenager on the planet who deserves a Tesla as their first car, you are monumentally idiotically ill-advised for making that choice. His kids are his responsibility. He doesn't get to change the rules now that you're earning more than he is. His attitude about this makes me think this is probably a doomed relationship at this point. You are not going to finance his kids, and he's not going to be okay with your child having more. But, my teen son deserves a Tesla. LOL, okay, what has he done in his years of life to deserve it? How ridiculously spoiled. However, hubby's a total hypocrite as he didn't care when OP was a broke student and her kid went to public school while his kids went to a fancy private school, and now he wants her to help out with his kids now that she's earning more. Oh, the audacity. Everyone's the idiot here. The husband for wanting cars bought for his children, the college funds topped off and the agreement changed. Just wow. You, on the other hand, buying a brand new Tesla for your son. Are you out of your mind? I don't know what's making you think he deserves it. He surely doesn't. I looked the price up and $35,000 isn't a price someone should pay for a first car, and it would be a gift. And don't tell me I want him the life I never had. He didn't. He didn't grow up in foster care or was adopted, and I don't want to hear he has 2 children, I have 1, yada yada. You are a family. Things change in a relationship. You adapt and behave like adults, or you don't. Why did you even get married? The 2 of you didn't build a family, you just did what was convenient for you. You're glorified roommates. Do you even care about his kids and how your actions will make them feel? He's absolutely an idiot for being concerned about his lack of fun money, but the 3 kids didn't agree to your financial split when you decided to make them a family. Think about all of the kids and not just your own. Also, a brand new Tesla for a teen driver is beyond stupid. Odds are it's wrecked within the year. Younger son Jake got married to Anne a few years ago. My older son Carl is getting married to Mary in 5 months. Anne and Mary hate each other. It's because of some stupid things that happened back in high school. I don't know much about it. Anyway, I decided to take both my boys and their partners on a trip. When I called Jake and Anne and told them about it, their reaction was, "No way, we're not going on a trip with Mary." I said they wish they'd come, but in the end it's their choice, and it's okay that they don't want to come. They got upset because apparently when they said that, they meant they wanted me to uninvite Mary, not them. I told them that I won't uninvite Mary for multiple reasons. She's an amazing person and enjoyable to be around, while Anne is not that fun, so if I have to choose who to spend my time with, Mary will always be my choice. Jake and Anne have no right to uninvite others from my trip. They can only decline their own invitation. Mary is the newest member to our family, and uninviting her will make her feel like she's not a part of the family. Am I the idiot for not uninviting my new daughter-in-law? Edit, we're talking about high school. They're not in high school anymore. They're adults. Whatever happened in high school, it's time to move on. As their father-in-law, I don't think it's my job to spend my day gossiping about high school. What's next? Are we going to braid each other's hair? I'm tempted to say not the idiot, but because of something in high school and Mary is fun to be with but Anne is not, are screaming huge missing reasons. You're blowing off your kid and other daughter-in-law's feelings. And you're right, they can't uninvite other people from your trip. But you're completely disregarding a potentially real reason why your daughters-in-law don't like each other. By taking a perceived Switzerland approach, you're actually choosing a side. Your instincts are understandable, so I wouldn't call you an idiot, but if you refuse to resolve this issue, then you will become the idiot. Why does OP need to resolve an issue he's been told is none of his business, knew nothing about it, and has nothing to do with it? BS. It's up to the two warring parties to resolve their issues. Any mature couple would have gracefully declined the invitation. Jake and his wife sound like they're still in high school. He's not actually trying to manage the relationship, duty or not. He pretty much said, one of my daughters-in-law sucks and the other one is fun, so I'm going to hang out with the one I like and the other one be damned. OP, you are the idiot. So let's recap. Mary is the fun one. Anne doesn't want to be anywhere near her, but Mary doesn't care. Something happened in high school. Since you are dense and or not interested in deciphering that, allow me to translate. Mary was Anne's bully in high school. Come on, you've seen movie villains. To Anne, it was a day that shaped her life, but to Mary, it was Tuesday. The bullies don't remember what they did. Now, we don't know how severe the bullying was, but we all know the statistics, and we know that a lot of former victims have lasting trauma. I don't know why you're trying to pretend it couldn't have been that bad, unless, of course, you yourself were a bully in high school. To make a long story short, my son married a deaf woman and they had a child. It was always a possibility that their child would be deaf. Our grandson was born a few months ago and he was partially deaf. One ear is better than the other. Kind of can hear but can't make out words, according to the doctor. I've been heavily involved in helping out and have been going to doctor appointments. He has narrow ear canals, ear canal stenosis, and it can be fixed. Since he's a baby, he will get a hearing aid and, when older, have surgery to widen the ear canal. We had dinner with them the other day and I asked about the hearing aid. My son informed me that they won't be doing it or the surgery. I asked if he was joking and he told me no, that he would be part of a good community and just like his mom. I told them they were both incredibly selfish to deny their son a normal life and that he wouldn't be able to listen to music or live an average life and they would cripple him for no reason but pride. He called me a jerk and left. His wife sent a text after it was explained and she's angry at me as well. Am I the idiot for telling my son it's selfish to keep their kid deaf? Edit, the doctor said the surgery wouldn't be difficult at all. Honestly, you are the idiot. I get that your concern for your grandson comes from a place of love, but you should have also heard the reason why they have come to such a decision. As parents, they for sure want what's best for their child, and since the mother is also deaf, I think they really did weigh out their options before they decided. Not the idiot. It is selfish to deny your child one of their senses because you can't have it when a hearing aid is a painless solution, and I think it was important for someone to say that and advocate for the child. To the point, it may come a time when it's worth considering legal action to advocate for the child if they indicate they want to have surgery or get a hearing aid. You did lack tact, which was not the best way to handle it, but I get the frustration. Perhaps a sit-down and heart-to-heart and hearing your son out on why may help. You are the idiot, you're the selfish one, it's not your kid. You don't get to bash their choices for their son. Deafness is definitely not a crippling thing and doesn't damage pride. You're just being ableist and assuming his life will be non-normal due to having hearing problems. Are you all joking, guys? That's wrong on so many levels. Who's so dumb to keep their child disabled? Keeping your kid disabled because one of the parents is disabled is insane. This kid could still absolutely be a part of the deaf community because he will grow up with a deaf mother. To pretend that deafness is the norm in society is turning a blind eye to reality. I, 23 female, live in an apartment I inherited from my late dad. It's fully in my name since he and my mom weren't ever married or even in a relationship, and he didn't have a wife or other kids. He passed away during the global issue and I moved into the apartment full-time last year after graduation. The apartment was in a different city to my university, so I couldn't live in it while I was at university. I met my new boyfriend when I moved to this city. We've been officially dating for just over a year and everything's great with him. Things are getting pretty serious and he suggested moving in together. I was totally on board because I get lonely living alone and ask him to sleep over so often. He's at my apartment for a lot of the time anyway. I just assumed that he'd be moving into my apartment with me so he wouldn't even have to pay rent, but he sent me links to apartments that are already in my area. I talked with him and asked why we couldn't just live in my apartment. He said he wouldn't feel comfortable living in a house that's entirely mine and he has no say over it. He said if we rent a new place together, then we can have an equal say in it. I got where he was coming from, but I was honest with him and said there was no way I was moving out of this amazing apartment that I lived in rent-free just to move into some other apartment in this same area and have to pay rent. I said legally he would have tenants' rights if we lived together and I wouldn't ask him to invest in home maintenance or renovations since that's my business. He still wasn't satisfied and said he still wasn't comfortable and was just looking out for himself. He suggested I rent the apartment out and use the rent money to pay my half of the rent for our new apartment, but I don't want to be a landlord. I have a full-time job and have absolutely no interest in dealing with all the crap that comes with being a landlord. After a lot of discussions, I said that since we can't agree, it's better that we just don't move in together and see if we can compromise later down the line. He said he's honestly hurt that I can't be bothered to put in any effort for us to live together, and that I'm coming off materialistic to be so attached to the apartment to the detriment of our relationship. We've been at a weird, awkward place in our relationship now, and I just want some perspectives, I guess. Am I the idiot? Edit. I'm confused because what he wants isn't even more comfy for him. He would rather live in a worse apartment. None of the ones that he sent were better in any way because they're the relatively cheaper apartments that we'd be able to afford on our salaries and pay almost half his salary towards rent. Nothing he says makes sense to me because we'll both just be more uncomfortable and have to put in a lot more effort to adjust to an entirely new apartment. Not the idiot. It would be silly to move from a place you love just to pay rent. It's rich that he says you can't be bothered to put in any effort when he's not willing to compromise at all. Somewhere down the road, if you marry or want to start a family, it might make sense to sell your place and jointly buy something together, but right now it would just be foolish. He can also pay you rent, so it feels like his place. Exactly, just doesn't make sense. It sounds like he's just being controlling. I'd have seriously reconsidered the relationship if my partner was as financially stupid as this guy. He wants you to do something absurd, impractical, and financially damaging in order for him to be more comfy, and he doesn't recognize that his request is unreasonable and inappropriate. It's a red flag. Do not move out. It might be a plan. Get her to give up the apartment, maybe sell it, buy something he persuades her to put his name on, or marry and buy it after, and bam, he's got his claws in. Anyone else with the slightest hint of brain capacity would choose free rent over paying rent. Even though if they move in together, he should pay OP rent, though maybe a reduced rate, so he has some rights in a contract, but make it like 3 months, then rolling or something so it's easier to end. Not the idiot. And be careful of the signs he's throwing out. I have 2 daughters, Zoe, 18, and Alexis, nearly adult. They're both in year 12 and almost done with their final exams. Zoe is my stepdaughter if it makes a difference. When it comes to school, the girls are the opposite. Alexis is like a young and dumb me and chooses to coast on her natural ability. She puts in the minimum yet has amazing grades. Zoe, on the other hand, struggles. She tries extremely hard and is tutored but always struggles to get C's in more academic subjects. To be clear, I'm not saying this to diminish Alexis. I was exactly the same as her back then and she's gotten amazing results. However, I've literally never seen her study aside from the literal day of the SAC exam. I'm proud of her for many things, but her attitude to education just isn't one. Both girls are great, even if both have their flaws, so I plan to reward both girls for finishing school and their results and efforts. The issue was yesterday. Alexis had her math methods exam and Zoe had her business exam. Alexis refused to give more than one-word answers as usual, so I left it by saying I'm proud of her and sure she did great. Zoe, on the other hand, was happy with how it went, telling me she managed to finish and felt confident about it. Considering last week she was crying because she couldn't finish English, it's designed so most students don't or barely, it was an achievement. I was proud of her and let her know, making sure to be supportive. However, Alexis later got upset and claimed it wasn't fair that I baby and favoured her. She thinks I'm proud of Zoe despite her being worse, so she must be the favourite. Even though I told Alexis I was proud of her earlier. I don't agree with her attitude and have tried to motivate her to study, but I'm still proud of the results she's gotten so far. She's valedictorian and I'll eat my hat if she doesn't get into uni, but I'm not going to not be proud of Zoe because she's getting worse results. Alexis insists that I should be prouder of her and that it's unfair for Zoe to get the same reward, but that's nonsense. I tried to explain it to her, but she just got increasingly upset, so I told her we'd talk about it more today and tried to reassure her I love her. Unfortunately, she decided to go to my ex's instead today, so we haven't talked beyond my ex accusing me of being a piece of crap father and saying I need to prioritise your actual daughter. Not the idiot, but your story does say Alexis. I left it at saying I'm proud of her, and Zoe, I was really proud of her and let her know. Could Alexis be sensing that you are more proud of Zoe's efforts and subtly communicating that? Even if she is naturally gifted, and the need for perfect grades is instilled by your ex, Alexis perhaps can't understand the difference in praise when she is valedictorian. My parents treated me and my brother like this, and I really resent them to this day for it. And I'm 29 now. I was never good enough because I was smart. A great grade would get a well done, a normal grade wouldn't be noticed, and I'd be scolded for C's and below. My brother was praised for every little accomplishment and validated. We would go out for ice cream if he got a B in maths. I got nothing from that. It's not fair treatment. OP, you are the idiot. Being valedictorian is an outstanding achievement. Even if it seems like she doesn't care, she's listening in school and doing her work, which does require effort. Your daughter is crying out for some special attention from you, and I think it sucks that all she got was a pat on the back.